When a male feminist tells you who they are, just believe them, okay? Save yourself the trouble of regret later on. Just really cast your mind back and think, when has there ever been an example of somebody coming out and proudly proclaiming that they are an ally to the feminist cause and they haven't been outed as a total creep? You don't have genuine winners, okay? Guys that are actually good with women ever having to come out and put on the goofy pink hat. It never happens, okay? They never have to champion women's causes because they are genuinely supportive and protective of women. Male feminists, on the other hand, well, they're cut from the same cloth as Neil Gaiman is, because it's so funny, right? Because you have several examples of situations just like this in recent years, okay? A bunch of clout-chasing chicks trying to get ahead either in an industry or to just secure a quick bag, and they realize that they aren't getting what they thought they would, or if they realize that the well is running dry, then all of a sudden they start to switch up the narrative. They decide all of a sudden, oh right, all of that stuff that I signed off on, oh no, right, that was done under extreme duress. I was actually the big victim in this. I didn't propose any of this degenerate stuff happening. No. Me at 20, 30, 40 years old, no, I was tricked. It's so funny. It's so funny how women are held up in large parts in society as being the arbiters of best aspects of society, but whenever the narrative and the description fits, well, all of a sudden they're just helpless to the whims and the desires of the domineering man. Now, I don't know a lot about Neil Gaiman. I know that he's kind of insufferable when it comes to him as a person, and when it comes to his work, I'm not all that familiar with it. As somebody who was a big fan of wrestling back in the Attitude Era days, the most I know about Neil Gaiman is that he did Sandman, and Raven loved to wear his t-shirt a lot. That's about it. Like, I've never read any of his work. I don't think I've seen any of his adaptations. I know that he's good friends with George R.R. Martin, another male feminist, but at least in George's case, I don't think he'll ever get accused of anything, mostly because unless you get one of these chicks trying to get between him and a hearty meal, there's not going to be too many plausible situations that they could put forward as being abusive. But this is a story that has been percolating in the background for quite a long time, actually. I remember hearing rumors of this, oh gosh, years back at this point, and a few months back, there was some news popping up, and even after this giant expose by the New Yorker magazine, another reason, and as I've covered a fair few of these situations, wherever you see one of these big exposés hidden behind a paywall, you can kind of deduce the strength of these claims. So far, we haven't seen any criminal charges. A lot of these are stories from years gone by, and for as much as I don't want to stick up for a male feminist, somebody that is more than willing to bend over for the cause, I also got to stand up for justice. Okay, I can see a shakedown coming from a mile away. That's exactly what this looks like. So for as much as what I've heard about Gaiman that I don't necessarily appreciate, as far as I can tell, this just looks like a guy with some kinks who was bad with women, and he had some vultures circling, trying to take advantage of this situation. They successfully did, and, well, it's a logical conclusion of events. So Neil Gaiman, abuse victim Scarlett Pavlovich, right, speaks out with graphic details on Sandman creators of violent perversions. Are you defying your master? Which, I mean, if anybody is so hubristic as to say that they're your master and they look like that, and every single profile picture, I understand, right? Like, there's a certain narrative where there's a lot of big publications coming out against Gaiman, but then at the same time, you know, he has the right politics, so you won't see the full court press, the likes of which Andrew Tate and Vince McMahon had received in recent years, the same way that they will approach Neil Gaiman, for a couple of very good reasons on top of his prolific status in comics. But New York Magazine released a deep dive into Neil Gaiman's misconduct allegations with interviews of several of the women involved. The allegations have escalated with detailed accounts where the women involved accuse the Sandman, an American Gods author, of several things that they'll accuse him in the public square of, but never will go to the authorities with. Interesting. In 2024, Gaiman was accused of misconduct by 7 women. The first 2 starting with the Tortoise podcast. Yeah, there you go. Just clout, okay? Throwing a guy's name out there who has been known for a long time, okay, as being a ghoul. Let's just go ahead and say that, okay? I'm not dunking on anybody's extracurricular bedroom activities, what two consenting adults do on their own, or 3 or 4, or whatever the hell you goofy freaks get up to. I don't care. All's well that ends well. It's just, here's the thing, okay? And this is why I wanted to add my 2 cents onto this, okay? Gaiman, from what we've heard as well, and then also, the several women that have come forward. A guy that actually has an abundance mentality, somebody who is good with women, somebody who doesn't have to purport to be an ally, a male feminist. It's basic sneaky fucker strategy, okay? A guy who, outside of career advancements, connections in the industry, doesn't really have that ability to elicit a primal response, okay? Like, he's never, okay, taking a look at this creep in the bathtub, okay? Or this ghoul on the red carpet. When is he ever going to get burning, genuine desire from a woman? Like, that's never going to happen to him. Sucks to suck, I guess. He might be extremely talented. That doesn't elicit any kind of primal response. So a lot of his interactions, okay, with the opposite sex, I would have to imagine are genuinely a transactional. He's made a lot of money in his time, okay? He has licensed a bunch of his work. He has definitely capitalized what he has contributed to the industry and maximized it to the best of his and his PR firm's abilities. And as such, he is a prime target to get taken advantage of by predatory women, which seems to also be the case. Not trying to dismiss his responsibility here, because he should have been a lot more cognizant of these types of women coming out of the woodwork in order to do what they ultimately did to him. I'm just saying, for the guys that are out there that are seeing this play out, okay, if you don't have enthusiastic consent, you will eventually get taken advantage of if you ever do become somebody, okay? And if you're just out there fucking anything on 2 legs, that just shows a severe lack of discernment on your end. As somebody who has done a thing or two, a time or two, without getting too graphic or anything like that, at this point in time, I've had my fun, I've had my experiences, and pussy is the only thing that you got. You're not worth my time, because I've seen way too many instances like this and very few repercussions. So New York Magazine, through their Vulture outlet, yes, has done a deep dive analysis of the situation, speaking with several women involved, providing detailed accounts of the what's now grown to 8 women accusing Gaiman of a range of creepy behavior to a snuggle struggle. Let's go with that one. Providing an account of his childhood surrounded by the cult of Scientology, informing his behavior. I thought he was in a different cult, looking at the last name and nasal curvature. As well as these escapades led to divorce with Amanda Palmer. Well, that was his second wife, by the way, but don't worry about it. While many known about the encounter with Scarlett Pavlovich, in which Neil Gaiman infamously declared they merely cuddled in a bathtub, okay? Scarlett's account of the situation is far more harrowing and graphic, according to the new article. Yeah, because she didn't get enough traction the first time around, now she needs to elaborate or embellish her situation. And as such, we can go through some of the accusations, and a lot of them are just that, simple accusations. Nothing's been proven, no charges have been filed, no real investigations outside of a couple of Vulture journalists. Very interesting, huh? You go to the press before you go to the authorities. When have we seen this? All right, every single time before. I wonder if they're just trying to get a settlement before they go for a civil lawsuit, if they're trying to get a quick payout before anything escalates from here, because we've seen this time and time again. The media finally exposed Neil Gaiman's sick, perverted behavior. The publishing industry covered for, the Sandman creator, and he used his fame to abuse young girls while covering for himself by espousing feminism publicly. Exactly. Abuse young girls? Let's keep it a buck, because that's trying to accuse him of things that, as much as he's done some interesting stuff, ones on the younger side, haven't seen anything like that, okay? These are all of-age individuals that, were taking advantage of the proclivities of a very adulterous individual, okay? It's worse than you think. Is it really? Well, trying to drag the guy's work into saying, he's got a perverted mind. Yeah, I don't really buy any of that stuff, okay? Yeah, you're right. A lot of the stuff that you can draw on your personal experiences to tell a story, but at the end of the day, it's a story, bro. Okay, the first allegation comes from babysitter Scarlett Pavlovich, right? Okay, who alleges Gaiman made her get into a bathtub when he showed up naked and made her get into a bathtub. That's interesting. He later allegedly made her lick her own taste of the poop and beat her with a belt to get himself, oof, that's interesting. So did he go ATM? And that's what ends up happening, and he left a little nugget on that writing stick? Is that what we're doing out here? Okay, he also did things to several young fans. Oh yeah, so he's out there bopping groupies who thought that, yeah, oh my god, yeah, he's that famous writer. Oh, I have a script that I'm working on. I have an idea for a comic book. Perhaps if I do some things for him, because as much as he perceives, and I'm just reading into this, I'm okay, just trying to connect some dots here, for as much as he can see certain liaisons as being transactional, you've also got these dumb bitches that are out there that also just think that their gash between their legs is the golden ticket to get into the industry. It works. Comics is a definitely festoon with them, that's for sure. But for as many that have weaseled their way into the industry, it's tenfold the amount that have tried. One woman said that he brought her back to his tour bus and asked to put his fingers, to finger bang, yeah. He asked to. When she told him no, he allegedly went all the way and did things to her. Oh, okay. That sounds pretty traumatic. Where's the police report? The worst might have been having a woman live on his property. Oh, okay, the former wife of his gardener, who he allegedly forced to do physical acts in exchange for living there. He forced her to do that to give her a roof over her head. Now, in kind of an extrapolated way, isn't that kind of what a wife is? I'm joking, sort of. He paid her off several $100,000 to remain silent. Oh, so there was an NDA after their situation had evaporated. Oh, okay. And again, she got paid, but now that she's gone through all of that money, or is towards the end, or also seen this other dogpiling campaign go on, now she wants to get re-upped, huh? According to the Tortoise podcast, his ex-wife Amanda Palmer alleges that there has been 14 different women with similar stories. Oh, so there's still another 6 to come out. She also posted a strange picture of the book Lolita in a trash can in 2024 to her Patreon. It's just grifters all the way around. Fans speculated, what that might mean that there's worse things going on, right? Mainstream media covered this up for nearly a year. Oh, a lot longer than that. They covered for Gaiman, and insiders at DC Comics told me that the company required silence from creators on this topic. This is John Delarose, by the way, guys, been in the industry for a minute, so his sources, not mine, just reading his thread. No one would report on it because he's too big to fail in the publishing industry. Since then, Neil Gaiman has allegedly hired a PR firm to flood social media with bot posts about his work to hide the story. The author has been silent himself on social media, canceling his one public appearance in the process. But that's no longer true because he has come out with a statement. Neil Gaiman breaks silence on allegations. I have never engaged in non-consensual activity. Neil Gaiman is addressing multiple abuse and assault allegations against him in a post published on his personal website Tuesday under the title Breaking the Silence. Oh my god, be as dramatic as possible, you fruit. The best-selling fantasy author, 64, said that he's far from a perfect person, but denied ever engaging in non-consensual activity with anyone. Gaiman's post came a day after New York Magazine published a cover story in which multiple women accused him of misconduct. As I read through the latest collection of accounts, there are moments I half recognize and moments I don't. Oh, so they were just that unmemorable? Okay. Descriptions of things that happened sitting besides things that emphatically did not happen. I'm far from a perfect person, but I have never engaged in non-consensual activity with anyone ever. Allegations against Gaiman previously surfaced last summer in a podcast titled Master from the UK-based media organization Tortoise, but journalist Lila Shapiro, his new report to New York Magazine expanded on them and also featured 2 accusers, Scarlett Pavlovich and Caroline Waller. Going on the record, Pavlovich told New York that she was brought on as a nanny for Gaiman and his estranged wife, musician Amanda Palmer, and this was at their New Zealand home in 2022. She alleged that Gaiman, harassed her on her first day of working with him. And though she consented to later encounters and moved in with him, oh my god, see, this is withdrawal of consent, and this is the type of stuff that just always makes me physically ill. Because you got while the getting was good, you were getting paid, you were also getting dick down, and I'd imagine you probably had grandiose expectations of what you could get if you would just go along to get along. But then when it didn't happen, all of a sudden, now you're crying foul. Now you're just mad because you can't get corn out of your hair. I understand. And I would be a lot more full-throated in my support of of Neil Gaiman if he wasn't a male feminist. I mean, on a day like today, it's worth saying I believe survivors, men, must not close our eyes and minds to what happens to women in this world. We must fight alongside them, and for them to be believed at the ballot box and with art and by listening, and change this world for the better. September 28th, 2018. One of the worst aged tweets we have seen in quite a long time. But at this point in time, I just kind of wanted to take a step back from this story, mostly because, yeah, there's a lot of dogpiling on, and everybody on both sides of the aisle. Like, I'm firm, okay? I'm firm on my stance where, okay, prove it. If it happened, don't even bother with a cot in a small little room, okay? Do what you got to do to rectify the situation. Okay, I think you can connect the dots there, read between the lines what we're talking about here. But then you got the likes of J.K. Rowling. Okay, compares Neil Gaiman to Harvey Weinstein as a Sandman author, faces more assault claims. J.K. Rowling is one of the biggest misandrists you are likely to ever see. Okay, I don't like to throw around those words, those pejoratives very often, but J.K. Rowling, whenever there's a problem in the world, she will find a man to blame it on. She hates guys. Absolutely hates them. And as this sits, okay, until I see more concrete evidence, until I see literally actually any evidence outside of he said, she said, Neil Gaiman can go back to just being that irrelevant guy who was writing goth comics for a bunch of angsty teenagers in the late 90s and getting shitty adaptations with pronouns in the cast announcements for a Netflix adaptation. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.